Let's talk about taking care of yourself during the job hunt. Because for every person who it takes 2 weeks, there are people who it takes months and months and months. And that's not a reflection of who you are as a person or how good you are. It can have to do with the economy, where you're at in your career, any restrictions you have on the kind of position you might take in terms of travel time or benefits or salary. It can have to do with a lot of things that are completely out of your control. But that doesn't change the fact that you have to somehow sustain your enthusiasm and interest so that it's the same on day 90 as it was on day 10. So we're going to talk about this today. And I decided not to interview anybody because this is an issue near and dear to my heart, because many years ago, this was what tripped me up. And getting sucked down into a bad headspace affected every part of the job hunt for me. I wasn't looking for good jobs that I really wanted, because I had gotten it into my head that I didn't deserve them because people weren't answering me. I did job boards instead of informational interviews, which is just a bit of a mind. I can't swear on here. It messes up my head and kind of puts me in a bad headspace. I wasn't interviewing well because I wasn't as enthusiastic or confident as I could be. I definitely didn't negotiate well once I did get to that point. And when I started a job, I was just looking for somebody to refill my tank of believing that I was worthwhile. And that's not anybody's job but mine. So obviously it didn't go too well. Anyway, so this is an issue that's near and dear to my heart. So I'm really excited to talk to you about it. So let's get started. So the first thing that I would say is make the job hunt not suck. Figure out what parts of it suck the most for you, or the most frustrating for you, and try to come up with solutions, different ways to do it. There are no hard and fast rules here. We're told there are a lot, but there really aren't. So for me, job boards were a big source of frustration. I would just spend hours looking at them and just tell myself all the reasons I wasn't qualified for different things. I was looking for rules to measure myself against, and job boards are never going to tell you that you're, overqualified for the position you want. They're never going to leave you feeling good. So I had to get off the job boards. So I took the informational interview approach. There's a whole video on here about informational interviews, so I'm not going to get into that. But essentially, it moved me from sitting anonymously behind a screen, sending my information into the void, to getting to talk face-to-face to people, which is my favorite thing to do, my favorite way to spend time. So that was a huge shift for me, turning each day of the job hunt from a horrifying slog that I had to get through to something that I could kind of figure out how to enjoy. Hour limits and boundaries are also very important. I often fell into the trap of telling myself just one more. I just want to find one more job. I just want to work one more hour, because I wanted that payoff. That dopamine hit of feeling like I'd completed something. I found a job today and I applied for it, but that could take a while, especially if you're customizing your cover letter and your resume and your LinkedIn and, doing research into the company and trying to talk to somebody. It can take a long time to do that. So figure out what boundaries feel healthy for you, draw them, and stand behind them. Don't compromise, because it's a good way to drain whatever energy you've got too early in the process. So that's a good place to start, with making it not suck. Pick the things you hate the most and figure out how to get rid of them, and set some firm boundaries around the stuff that you can't get rid of. Next, make it healthy. Self-care can take a backseat, especially at times in our lives when we think that it shouldn't be a priority. I can't take care of myself right now. I need to put all of my energy into getting a new job, and then I can take care of myself. That's not going to work, especially not if you're talking about a 90-day, a 180-day, a year-long job search process. And it can take that long if you're at levels in your career where you've got that level of specificity. So you obviously cannot wait to take care of yourself for a year, or even 3 months, or even a month. So how can you create a life of balance that can work for you every day? So for me, that looks like integrating yoga into my day, making sure I'm meditating every day, keeping up my hobbies, making sure that I'm eating healthy and exercising was very key, because I would get into this belief that I'm doing something hard, so I need to pamper myself in the short term. I need to eat some comfort food. I need to skip going to the gym because I'm taking care of myself. But short-term care and long-term care are very different things. And short-term care can get you through the day, but what you need to get you through the entire marathon is that long-term care. So you can totally do the short-term care stuff, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But having that long-term real care is very important. So, take a piece of paper, brainstorm the things that really make you feel good in the long term. Maybe it's eating broccoli every day. Maybe it's drinking lots of water, whatever it may be. And make sure that you have a plan for getting some of that in every day. So a final thought on making it healthy is a healthy mindset. So a lot of people do the job hunt and it kind of shifts them into this mindset of, I'm looking for someone to want me. I'm looking for someone to tell me I'm good enough. A healthier mindset, and one that I often had to remind myself of, and still have to remind myself of every now and then, is that for the right job, I'm perfect and they're looking for me. So my only job is to make sure that I'm visible and I'm putting myself out there so they can find me and we can form a relationship together. And so if a job comes along and I think it's perfect, but it turns out it's not a personal feeling of mine. It just wasn't the perfect job. The last thing I want to talk about is making it fun. It can be really easy to get dragged down into this idea, this is terrible, this is a slog, this is a really hard time in your life, but it doesn't have to be. Nobody said it had to be. So what could you do to make it fun? You know what's fun for you. You know what are your biggest hangups and the biggest ways that you're denying yourself and how to do the opposite. So, take some time and ask yourself, but I'll share what worked for me. I often used money to kind of self-flagellate. Like, I can't spend any money on anything fun because I'm not making any right now. And even though I had money in the bank, I had a support network, I had people I could ask for stuff, I told myself I could not have anything. So I know finances are tight during the job hunt, but you can afford $1 a day, $5 a day, $10 a week to just do something fun for yourself. Give yourself permission to do whatever you want. And then every conversation in your head doesn't have to be about self-denial. It can be about reward. Other ways to use rewards. Anytime I was good about listening to my boundaries and standing behind my boundaries, I might do something that was a reward, even if it was as simple as a cup of tea or taking a nice stretch break or eating a candy cane, whatever it takes to help you have some fun. Finally, take breaks. When you need them, take a break. And if you're paying attention when you're starting to get into a bad headspace. And I would kind of watch myself get into a bad headspace and tell myself, all I need to get out of this is to find the right job. But I wasn't going to find the right job from being in that headspace. So take breaks. If it's a 10-minute break, an hour break, a day break, a weekend break, whatever you need to be able to come at this from a place of enthusiasm, empowerment, and energy. Good luck. It's going to be fine. It's going to be wonderful. You're going to find this perfect job for you, and it's out there looking for you. And you just have to remain your awesome, valuable self to get there. Good luck.